All right, so Runeterra here. We're going to kick today off with a bit of a brew. Braum was a card that got a buff in the most recent patch, and he got changed in a couple of ways. The first is that he gained a point of power, which is extra good with both his challenger and his regeneration, able to force things to block him and able to deal a little bit of damage that lasts, because most units in this game do not have regeneration, so the damage carries over from round to round. Braum also now generates Poros a little bit more consistently. So the first time he survives damage on his base level, he creates a 3/3 Mighty Poro for us. He's so strong with his hammer, chat. His level up condition is when he survived 10 total damage across various turns. And then Braum's leveled mode is a little bit tougher and a little bit stronger, and also summons a Mighty Poro every time it survives damage. The rest of this deck has various Poros in it, like the sad little lonely Poro, who makes a Poro friend, so he's no longer sad. We've got some Mighty Poros that we can just play out. We've got Poro Herder to help us draw some extra Poros. We got some Poro Snacks to make all of our Poro allies bigger everywhere. And then we've got some various combat tricks like Elixir of Iron to help Braum survive removal spells. To help Braum survive removal spells and direct damage. Our second champion in this deck is Lux, who cares explicitly about casting 6+ mana spells to level her up. And when she levels up, she creates us Final Sparks, which deal 4 damage to our opposing champions. So we've got a few different 6 mana things, including the Aurora Borealis here, which creates some Poros for us, in addition to leveling up Lux. So it has a little bit of synergy with a few different types of things in our deck. And then also, we've got some Vanguard Sergeants here that when he comes into play, creates a 4 Demacia, which is another 6 mana spell to work well with Lux. So let's go ahead and pop on into some games here with this. I don't know how successful this deck is going to be. It's a bit of a brew. Let's pop on into the ladder and see how it goes. One of the standard decks we played today was okay. If you have standard submissions, I will entertain taking your standard submissions, but just like everything else, I'm not taking everything. So, opponent is also playing Braum. Playing Braum Anivia here, so probably a control deck. One of the things I really love about this game is the fact that you get information right from the start, so you can start making educated and informed decisions. I actually think my hand's pretty reasonable here for control matchups. I'm just going to click OK. So the way this game works is it has a linear resource progression similar to Hearthstone, where each turn, each player gains a resource and restores all of their resources. However, unlike Hearthstone and more similar to Magic, both players are playing on each player's turn. Another thing that's really important that's different from Hearthstone is you'll notice my mana that I didn't use on the first turn of the game gets banked down here. And you can bank up to 3 mana in these extra here to carry over between turns, but this extra banked mana can only be used to cast spells. It can't be used to cast any units that are on the board. I really like this use of banking mana because an issue that's very common in games like Hearthstone and Magic is if you skip making plays in the early turns, you'll frequently lose so much tempo from not using your resources you can't catch up. So the spell mana system in Runeterra really elegantly allows you to not get punished for missing plays on those early turns. And in fact, there's some decks in this game that are built around the idea of saving up your spell mana for later. So the way combat in this game works is the thing that rotates turn to turn is who's attacking, and one player declares attackers and the other player declares blockers, similar to Magic. However, unlike Magic, blocking is only 1-to-1 in this game. I'm gonna go ahead and just play a Mighty Poro out. Hey, thanks for the 16 months, Berg. Yeah, the Runeterra content in the last sub-survey was fairly popular, so not planning to stop doing Runeterra anytime soon. So, the way combat in this game works is if you play a unit, you can attack the turn you play with it. However, because I have the option to attack this turn, if I attack before playing anything, I get to attack before my opponent can add more things to the board. So I'm going to play this Mighty Poro here, but there's a chance now that my opponent can play like a 4-4 out, for instance, and then I don't really have good attacks if they play a 4-4. So there's give and take and balance and different decisions that you have to make as to whether or not you're supposed to attack right away before your opponent can advance their board, or if it's worth the risk to add to your board before your attack, knowing that your opponent could also be adding to theirs. Not going to attack with my 2-1 because I don't want to trade it for their 1-1. And then pretty okay with these. Over on the left side here, if I mouse over this, it tells me what's going to happen in combat. So you can see here, if combat happens, it tells me my opponent's 2 things are going to die. My opponent's going to take 4 damage. They're going to make a spider, and they're going to draw an extra card. And they make a spider when this dies, and they draw a card when this dies. So always don't have to guess what's going to happen. The client just tells you. If you're someone that was here when we were streaming Magic and you're interested in learning some Runeterra, make sure you refresh your stream on the desktop because that'll load the Runeterra extension. Twitch doesn't automatically reload extensions, which is unfortunate. I'm gonna go ahead and pass here. We'll bank this extra mana into a spell mana. So, Braum here has a mechanic called Challenger. This is actually a champion that we're playing as well, so it can force something that I have to block. Removal seems relatively weak, and Runeterra is that accurate. It's just different than Magic, I think is the appropriate descriptor. So, a lot of the mana costs of things in this game don't directly translate from Magic. Like, for example, there's a card in this game that's basically unsummon that costs 4 mana, and there's some discussion in the community as to whether or not that card is too good at 4 mana. The way resource progression works in this game and the way you're able to bank mana across turns for spells really changes it really changes what can be considered good at what cost. So, example of the stack here, my opponent's playing something that's going to deal 1 to all my things. In response, I'm going to single combat to have my Poro fight their Braum. So you cannot respond to units in this game, but you can respond to other spells, to fast spells and slow spells. Hey, Corvmox, thanks for the 24 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, they could have had some kind of pump spell to get me in trouble there, but I think I was obligated to make them have it. Killing their Braum is pretty important before he can level up. Alright, I think we're just gonna Lux here. So Lux notably levels up when she sees me cast 6+ mana worth of spells. So with these Aurora Borealis lined up in my hand, getting her into play before I play these is a lot of appeal. And here's a good example, talking about things being more expensive. This is a 7 mana kill target unit. Obviously, Murder and Magic only cost 3, but Vengeance sees play costing 7 in this game.
Going to the light.
Da, 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 da. Hey, there's Braum. I'm just gonna go ahead and trade here. So I have 7 mana, so I think we're gonna, like, play Vanguard Sergeant and Braum this turn.
Something ancient stirs.
Braum is on the job.
I mean, creatures can only attack every other turn in Magic, too, technically. I'm gonna go ahead and 4 Demacia here. Try and make Braum big enough to kill their Anivia. Yeah, I agree that it feels like my opponent's deck is the control deck here, and I need to try and kill them. And it doesn't feel like we're going to be very successful at that. They have another Vengeance here. Yep. Sure, that's accurate, Quaz, but that still doesn't make what I said not true. So the Poros deck there makes all my Poros everywhere bigger, including ones that get made from this, right? My Poros that will come out of the Aurora Borealis will also be bigger. If I recall correctly. Just for the record, I agree that the removal in this game is appropriately costed.
Blow winds and crack your cheeks.
This is technically better if it has Plunder, but I think I want to just play it out so I can attack to start next turn. This thing is about to level up. Let's read.
Wrapped in cold silence.
We do have Poros next, chat. Worth noting, Plunder Poro can technically get Ephemeral. That's crappy.
All along, little ones. Oh, fluff everywhere.
Fluff everywhere.
Where did they go off to?
I protect this place.
Is there a maximum hand size? There is. When you hit your 10th card in hand in this game, you simply can't draw more cards. The card you draw just gets destroyed. Huh, they're just passing. So the way the priority system in this game works, if they pass and then I pass, the round ends. So I lose 3 mana. I only bank 3 of this 6, but they lose 10 mana here if I end round. So I think I just end the round. So like it feels like a little bit bad. No, if I burst, they still get a chance to play something else.
Bring the storm.
He should have blocked with Herder. He stops 3 damage for free. Well, I couldn't block with the Herder? Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right, I could. You're right, I could. No, you're right. The sad Poro turns into a jubilant Poro when you play his friend out. It's a little details, chat.
Warm hearts and hot soups. Denounce magic.
Abomination. Yep. Well, that's brutal.
Eternal winter.
Mages can't hide from me.
And this thing keeps coming back. You basically have to kill it twice. Yeah, we're probably dead here at this point.
Then kindle anew.
Yeah. Yeah, we're dead. Hey, Quilcy, thanks for the third of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Okay, opponent is playing Misfortune and Gangplank. Probably something more aggressive. Misfortune, especially paired with Noxious, sounds more aggressive. Knight says, neat. Let's get your sword to go with that shield. Thanks for the 12 months of support. I appreciate it. Welcome back. I think I'm going to mulligan the Mage Seeker. It's not very good until I've cast a 6+ mana spell. I'm going to keep the Elixir of Iron as a combat trick in case they have something like their deal 1 spell. Okay, so Precious Pet here, 2-1 with Fearsome for 1. This would imply that they're playing an aggressive deck. Generally speaking, Fearsome is a keyword that says this can only be blocked by things with 3 attack or more.
Explosives primed.
Yep, definitely an aggro deck.
They're out there. I'll spot them.
Let me show you what I can do.
We're just passing.
Let's get through. Ready the torches.
Thanks, Ace Crusher. I appreciate the 2/3 of your support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So I think we're going to block this 3/3 and single combat these two. This will cause us to take 3 total and draw 2 cards, which I think is fine. I'll take 1 from this trigger and 2 from here. These will both die.
Light the signal fires.
Braum would be okay. 3/3's not bad, though.
Ye stalking without me.
Unfortunate that our 3/3 cost 3 and theirs cost 1.
Show them our metal.
Let's see what you can do. Is that all?
That's just like the absolute worst case scenario there for us. Think we're elixiring here to keep our thing alive, but this thing deals 2 to us every time it survives a hit. So like, these are gonna bounce, they'll survive the hit, we'll take another 2 here.
Neither the flames nor the depths can claim me, Captain. A Demacian soldier is worth 10 foes. Hang by their entrails.
We're gonna give this one a few shakes. There's a chance we do 2 Runeterra decks today, because I think there's a good chance this one's kind of a dumpster fire. So Vi plus Heimerdinger is a control deck on the other side. Purify's not particularly exciting. I'm gonna mulligan the Mage Seeker because it's not good till late. I'm gonna keep Sentry and Braum here. Play my lonely Poro, who makes a Poro friend. This is a general good mention of the person I just timed out. Rather than complaining about the contents of a channel or a chat, just change the channel. You don't like yell at your TV when your TV starts playing something you don't want to see. It's not an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. Just like, move on. It's not a big deal.
The dragon approaches.
The old regenerating 1/1.
Let none disturb my meditation.
It has elusive, which means it can only be blocked by their elusive units, so very similar to flying for magic.
Tread lightly, strike hard.
I yell at my TV and I probably... That's true. My 4 and 5-year-old do get upset when they're watching normal television and an ad comes on. Fluff everywhere.
Skill and grace to tear your breath away.
You feel like elusive equals shadow for magic back in the day. I'm gonna give you a 10-minute timeout to go read what shadow does, because you clearly don't know.
You act, but do not see.
Have a Poros snack. Elusive is literally flying for magic. Like mechanically speaking, it is identical to flying. Sure, horsemanship. It is mechanically identical to horsemanship. That is accurate.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
Fast as wind. Eat this!
How many people am I going to time out for comparing it to Shadow that don't know what Shadow does? What do we think? What's the line, chat? What's the line on number of people that don't know what Shadow does that are going to tell me that it's like Shadow? For reference, for people that don't remember Magic mechanics from the mid-90s, Shadow creatures can only block other creatures with Shadow. I think the fact that it's has this smoky animation and is called elusive. So this is actually a good example of the turn cycles in this game. My opponent passed to me, assuming I'm gonna attack because my attacks are good here. But I just get to elect to not attack now, and then they don't get to use their mana and play any cards here. I love the priority system in this game, because it gives you so many little things like that, where okay, my opponent made a decision, and now I get to punish them for their decision.
Rain from a cloudless sky.
That's the Rishiden port stuff. I love in Legacy, but it's yeah, exactly, Hippity.
I need no weapon.
Big agree. So they're giving this plus toughness. I'm gonna go ahead and harsh winds here. to make both of these lose their power. It frostbites 2 things. This 6 mana spell also levels my Lux here. Creates a final spark that I get to blast something. So everything lives. Their thing goes down to 2 toughness, which means I can final spark to kill her. Fire the laser, chat.
A beacon through the dark.
Give him the beacon, chat. Give him the beacon. What if instead we didn't kill my Lux?
Magic corrupts Demacia from within.
Your Demasia's nothing like what I know.
I love the cards talk to each other. That's such a good detail. So don't want to attack with Lux here. I would love to hook their elusive so it can stop punching me every turn. Again, electing to attack before doing anything else because I would like to not give them a chance to play more things to the board. I think I'm okay with this. These are all trading and they're going down to 8. So that's a Dinger. Dinger is similar to Young Pyromancer or Monastery Mentor for Magic. Every time they play a spell, they get a thing. I'm going to go ahead and Aurora Borealis here, which makes me a Final Spark and some other friends here. And we'll get to blast the Dinger. They'll probably have a fast spell or something in response here to make a turret before he goes, but just want to get him off the table. Lux down, but Dinger's also down. Feeling pretty good. Are we gonna get on the scoreboard, chat? It's feeling like we're gonna get on the scoreboard.
Would you believe he once fit in my hand?
Would you believe he once fit in my hand? Look how big and scary he is. Got his eye patch. This Poros seen some stuff, chat. Mighty is the Poro.
Oh, I missed you too.
Let us get going. You're not alone. Braum is here. Show our friends the door. Good luck. Have fun.
Good luck. Have fun.
We should be friends.
Okay, so if I silence this, it gets rid of all the modifiers, right? So if I do this, it turns it back into a 2-1? Is that how that works? And it gets rid of the tough? And it gets rid of the tough.
See? Trust Braum.
Trust Braum. Listen, Braum, I was gonna have to level with you. You were okay there, but you were just there to supplement my Poros, okay? Poros and Lux did the heavy lifting that game. Poro Herder's great here. Get to go Lonely Poro and one in the Poro Herder on two. Look at how nimble he is! Look at him! He's ready to go, chat. Don't mess with him. He's coming for you.
Follow along, little ones.
You should put challenge creatures last to things like lifesteal. That's a good suggestion. Yeah, the depth of the combat in this game really goes far. How'd standard go? The green-white counters deck was good. The blue-red deck was awful. I think I'm going to open on attacks here, because I think there's a good chance they play out like a 4-3 this turn. You're Mystic Shotting my 1/1.
Would you believe he once fit in my hand?
I think that's my favorite thing about having sub-only mode off. When sub mode is on, people that have like watched long enough to subscribe, like they don't complain about timeouts generally speaking. But like, man, people like to act like taking a 10-minute break in a Twitch chat's the worst thing to ever happen in their lives. Like, you know, the only thing you could naturally do to those people is give them another 10-minute break.
A Demacian soldier is worth 10 foes.
I mean, business chat, he's coming for you.
Did you get into the snacks?
Did you get into the stacks? We played a Fizz deck. Yeah, we played a bunch of different Fizz decks. You can find them all up on the YouTube channel on the website as always.
Unrelenting.
Shame on me for not picking up the stuff in my Tempest Black game. See, you understand. I understand. Jury rig. It's an interesting one. Get Excited isn't in their colors, is it? What color is Get Excited? Is Get Excited Piltover? It is, isn't it? Okay, yeah, so they must be playing some Get Exciteds if they're playing the discard card.
Let none disturb my meditation.
Nothing escapes my watch.
Howdy, grab. This is elusive, so cannot block it currently. Using my sword without a shield for a couple of days there was a bit dangerous. Thanks for support, Hippity. Hope you're staying safe out there. think I'm supposed to single combat here and try and kill this. Yeah, like, there's a good chance they have a pump spell, but, like, if this goes unchecked, it's just so good. They're gonna have, like, flash into the pump spell. Deny. Okay.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
And round it goes.
Unfortunately, don't have that many Poros right now.
Will not prevail. My time has come.
Braum is unfortunately not strong enough to kill any of their stuff. I only have 9 mana total here, so I can't Braum and 4 Demacia. I guess Braum kills the 3-1.
Is it the boosters? Who knows?
With Harsh Winds, we might survive a turn.
To date.
And again, I should put my hooks last, like someone mentioned. That's a good thing to comment on.
If I must. As fate wills.
Blocking here is smart. Better than this, because if I have a Poros neck, they just get blown out on this block. What's the reason to put hooks last? Because combat resolves left to right. So if they have some kind of trick, for example, that gives this life steal,
Fate wills.
you want to be able to deal your damage before the life steal happens. It's one of those things that's often not going to matter, but there's going to be corner cases where it really could. We'll see how many more 3-mana spells they have. I have this to fog 2 things, but they make a ton of elusive turrets here. We're going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Sometimes icy hot just needs warm spot.
Yeah, you can only have 20 life in this game.
Signal fires.
More combat tricks. This has regeneration, so it's gonna go back up to a 1/5 here. 7-1 with barrier. Not particularly good here. God, the 7-drop turret's pretty bad, huh? It's an Aurora Borealis. Love it. Makes 2 Poros and some Poro snacks.
Hands for violence.
They have 11 mana here only, so unfortunately can't do both of these.
I drop trouble coming at ya.
Unfortunate that I have to spew 2 mana here. We'll have 12 mana this turn, though, which is nice. So I can kill this, but we're still pretty far behind. Yeah, we do have Overwhelm here. That could maybe let us punk them out. They are only at 8. They have 12 mana though and 5 cards in hand, so there's a lot of possible things they could have here.
Do they need our help? In Russ's name, show me your best.
Yeah, the fact that their Vi doesn't have good blocks here is good for us for sure. And then Purify here can strip Elusive off of one of these, which is nice. Helps us not die in the crackback potentially. Maybe I was supposed to hook the 4/1 here. So that way it didn't matter. Never mind. JK, LOL. I think we're dead. God, we really needed luck sooner this game.
I need no weapon.
Really needed luck sooner. Okay, so we're actually not in a terrible spot here. Their Lux is gonna level, but I get to Aurora Borealis and then Poros Snack to allow these to block these. Yeah, Snack lets me block the Fearsomes.
I don't need a plan. Coming at ya.
Oh, this is gonna...
Someone's gonna pay.
You can't silence. There's only silence his followers. I love the emotes of this game. They're great. I don't even know that we're winning this game, but we got them. Pretty sure we're still dead, in fact. There's like 800 elusive turrets up here, but like,
Round it goes. My most groundbreaking
we definitely won the evening game. Look at how fearsome he is! He's so scary! Sorry, I had to enjoy my Sinister Poro. Elusive is basically flying Hippity.
How can Braum help?
Yeah, we're just dead.
Next time, we will do better.
It's always available, Mean Bean. Whenever there's a stack with spells on it or combat going on, you can mouse over the eye to find out what the result's gonna be. Let's try one more with this. This is Darius, Noxious Shadow Isle implies an aggressive deck. If we can survive to get to Luck, she's pretty good. And I think with 2-3, we might be able to survive to get there. So I think I'm going to mulligan the Harsh Winds. Lonely Poro is a great draw on one here. And honestly, hitting the Daring Poro is perfect because their deck's likely to have elusive things in it, right? Are these colors? So I'm blanking on the colors. The pink color has elusive, right? Or is this not the elusive colors?
Let me show you what I
These are not the elusive colors, right?
Their guilt is evident.
Their guilt
I
is
love a
evident.
taste of the end.
You look guilty.
Look what you.
Pink is elusive. Okay, yep. Braum is an absurd draw. So let's start hooking their stuff and make some Mighty Poro. He's so lonely, chat. He just wants a friend. Why won't you be friends with him, chat? So I think I'm actually not gonna attack with this because I'd prefer not to trade my 3-3 for their 3-1 because my 3-3 can block their 2-1 Fearsome. Just Jake, thanks for the 3 quarters of the year. I appreciate that. Welcome back.
I'll try anyone once.
Is it the mustache? Who knows?
Deck tracker is third party. Hippity.
Remember the objective. Make the Empire proud.
Got something for him? I protect my own. Meet them head on.
I think this is the line. This deals 2 when it dies. We're on to 10 here.
It is easy, see? Oh, this one drank his milk.
Braum will get to hook this turn, which is nice. So if I bank 2 mana, I'll have 8 mana next turn, and 8's not really that different than 7, so I'm gonna play the Daring Poro out.
Poros flying.
Bilbalo, thank you for the 33 months. Welcome back. Dealing 3 to their thing and 3 to me. Yep. Could get burned out here if they have a decimate. Decimate does a slow spell that does a bunch of damage. Oh, this does 1 when it attacks. It's fine. Really? They just passed. That seems absurd for us. I've got 2 Overwhelm idiots. Do I just cast 4 Demacia attack here? I think that's the play, huh? Then you'd have like Decimate plus a deal 3.
Stand strong. This is fun, yes?
This is fun, yes?
Your path ends here. Moving into sight.
Still dead. Still dead. How's the tech spell? It's been okay. Why is highlighting message an option? You gotta burn shillings on something, Steve.
Victory is friends we made along the way.
Victory is friends we made along the way. The Braum update was truly fantastic. Love that they balance things both by nerfing as well as buffing. What's my opinion? I like the current format that I've been playing, Vita. A lot of people that play a lot of Runeterra seem to be super down on the elusive mechanic, but like basically every color in this game has a number of cards that have counterplay against the elusives, whether it's removal or cards that challenge or cards that grant vulnerable. So it really doesn't feel like a problem to me. I've not played Anivia Braum Control, no. Yeah, exactly. It feels like to me that, and again, I don't have a ton of experience, take this with a grain of salt, but it kind of feels like the people complaining are folks that just like don't want to put remove spells in their deck. Yeah, it feels like the people just like want to have no respect and then not get punished for having no respect. Hello, I've wasted my shillings. It's a different color piece of candy. Look at that.
Mages can't hide from me. These old eyes still see far and clear. Ready the torches.
So they'll draw a card, this will die, they'll take 2, my Poros will take a couple points of damage here. Their Kalista levels up when she sees 3 things die. A couple more of those yet. Just playing the other Mage Seeker out? I think so. I guess I could play Braum, but I also like don't mind just like banking some spell mana this turn either.
Denounce magic.
So these things get bigger if they see something die. I don't know what we're purifying there. So I can go block, but then Kalista levels up as the eye shows us here. So I don't know that it's worth doing that to let her level. Of course, I also just like don't have good attacks if I'm like worrying about her leveling. I'm trading here. Yeah, we really need to find a way to enable Lux to be in this game, it feels like. We can make a final spark with her and blast Kalista out of there. That would be ideal. The same region has all the card draw. Card draw's not really that important in this game. The fact that you draw a card on each player's turn makes card draw far less important in Runeterra than it is in games like Magic. In fact, the fact that there's no lands and that you draw a card every turn makes a huge difference. Hey, Stumungus, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. I really appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. Thanks for keeping me employed here this month with that.
I feel this would last. Have fun.
Have fun. The 2/2 should have been last. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, if they put the 2/2 last, I probably just don't trade with the 1/1 and only trade with the 2/2. That's kind of a wash, I think.
My friend.
Don't be sad, my friend. Be sad, little Poro. We love you. You are loved, little Poro.
Sometimes icy hot just needs warm spot.
Is Legends of Runeterra mechanics similar to Hearthstone? No, it's just literally not necessary, Judge Advocate. In fact, Legends of Runeterra, in my opinion, has the best play draw balance of any card game I've ever played.
There you are.
It has an incredibly well done play draw balance. In fact, there's a number of decks in this game that, especially depending on their draw, prefer to go second.
They grow up so fast.
It's so funny that, like, potentially the best card in this game is literally just 4 mana on summon. It's just so fantastic.
Come this way.
Come this way. Alright, so we'll put this here, we'll put this here, we'll put this... Oh, this is fearsome. That changes my thoughts a little bit. If I put this here and this here, then? Or do I want to take...
Never back down from what you believe.
Do I take 7 to kill their 3/3? I think the answer is yes.
Think hard. Think strong.
This is my choice. Never back down.
No, I want to save the silence for a They Who Endure. Elusive is literally flying for Magic. Look at how happy he is, chat. He found a friend. He found a friend. He's so happy.
And Poros flying! Sometimes icy hot just needs warm slime.
Okay, so I can take heart here, and then next turn I can purify to level this and get a final spark to kill Kalista.
First we fight. Show me your best.
No, Lux unleveled is not 6 in 1 turn. That counts it. She just has to have seen 6. She's great.
Better, brighter than before.
Now this sequence here does expose me to a They Who Endure. So if they have 7 mana, if they have a They Who Endure, we could die here. Okay.
No more holding back.
Stand behind Braum.
They're dead when I open attacks here, right? So we hook this and then we kill them?
It is easy, see?
And again, we just want to attack first here so they don't get a chance to deploy their units out. Obviously, they could have a removal spell or something here, but if they don't, they're dead. Whew. God damn it. What a close game. What a close game. Huh.
We are still friends.
Huh. So for those that missed it, they had a +4/+4 and then another atrocity. And you recommend a deck? I take deck submissions for dollar dues. But other than dollar dues, I've got a whole backlog of deck Q stuff to work through, so I'm not taking non-paid submissions at this time. Now, and honestly, like, the fact that I lost that game, but I'm able to walk away from it and say, man, that was a good game, that was sweet, I really feel like that's what Magic has missed, has been missing in recent design. Like, I feel like the Magic gameplay has been so toxic. It's just the only way I can describe it, that, like, there's, like, Nexus of Fate is a good example. Like, there's a ton of designs in Magic's recent history that are like, even when you win, you feel like you didn't have fun. Whereas, like, Runeterra has a ton of games where it's like, man, that was really sweet, and it was close, and it came down to the wire, and we had a bunch of back and forth, and it was fun even though I didn't win. Yeah, the amount of in-game player agency the average Runeterra game has is just insane. Yes, yeah, Magic decks don't tend to win by inches. They're definitely people going over the top of each other, for sure. Big agree with that sentiment. I could single combat to trade these. I feel like I don't want to do that though. Yeah, I agree, Lacarp. I think that's accurate. I think most games that you miss a land drop in Magic currently, you just die. Sorry about that, December Black. Elusive and tough. Love it. Just gonna pass here and bake the spell mana. Yeah, I think that's part of it too. Part of Magic's issue is there's been Magic's had too many combo decks in it in recent memory. Man, she's tough, so I can't even back-to-back here. I think I just Poros snacks to get a damage in on her, though. What is tough? Tough means it takes 1 less damage, basically like armor. So if I made my thing a 4/4, I'd only deal 3 to her.
The Martian soldier is worth 10 foes.
I think we're gonna open on 4 Demacia next turn, huh? See if we get denied here or not. Not denied. So, one important distinction in this game from Magic is when a card says, if this was cast, do a thing, a card only counts as cast if it resolves. So this card that gets a bonus when you cast a 6+ cost mana spell, it doesn't count. I think we're wide enough that we're just attacking here, even though they can eat some of my stuff. Yeah, they're going to 1 here. Deal. Yeah, I fully agree. We talked about this before too, Tenton Hammer. I'm of the opinion that if a new card game was introduced that was identical to Magic today, it would be laughed out of the room as not being a reasonable game. Firmly believe that. Playing this out might be wrong if they deal damage to her and then hook her and trade her here with Vi. It might be right to just try and get them to attack first, but they could also just not attack and then we get punished. I need to get her down so I can back and then kill them with the final spark next turn. Yeah, static shock's like a worst case scenario. Yeah, I probably should have been greedier. I should have been greedier. I should have been greedier and waited for them to attack before playing Lex out. Now they're gonna trade Lux for this. We might still get them with this having Overwhelm. We might. We just open on attacks here. Yeah, they need to deal with my Overwhelm, and they need to deal with my other attacker. Still dead. Still dead. Think mana systems should be simple like Hearthstone or Runeterra, or do you think different, more types of mana systems, more variants should be explored? No, I think putting variants in being able to actually play the game sucks. Alright, so I just save this and kill them, right? -10. Oh, I could have just clicked OK, right? They were dead anyways. Okay. JK still had all these. I actually think Magic would be better served if their mana was better on average. I think if Magic simply had more dual lands legal at all times in Standard, the game would be better off for it, most likely. The fact that bad mana keeps aggro decks worse is crappy. Haley's doing really well. One of the Standard decks we played today was okay. If people have Standard decks they'd like to submit for Magic, I will entertain doing more Standard after today. We're still gonna do mostly Historic, but we'll touch a little bit of it if people want to pay me to do it. Darius, Draven, definitely an aggro deck. We're gonna mulligan all of these looking for cards that can impact the board early. None of those do that. It's not amazing, but it's fine. We'd like a Lonely Poro on one ideally, but like 2 into 3 is an okay start. Yeah, deck's been fun, White Wanderer. Most of the decks in this game are fun. I have a lot of play to them. Snap Bolt Snap. Thanks for 25 months. Welcome back.
Let me show you what I can do.
I am really confused that they didn't attack their 2-3 into my 2-1. Yeah, big agree on partial mulligans. Partial mulligans are great.
War Mason, reporting for duty.
Big agree on partial mulligans.
Few are the many.
Show them our metal!
Great, we're kind of stabilizing the board and we're still at 14, so that's nice.
We ride for Noxus!
So that's a big in. My favorite deck in Runeterra. My favorite deck currently is definitely the Lux Shen mid-range deck. Honestly, I kind of think Magic's better off without partial mulligans, if only because I really don't have it in me to listen to how much complaining would happen from that community if they changed the mulligan system to partial mulligans.
Ride on!
think I'm just passing here. I don't think I want to attack either of these into this 6-4. See if they open on attacks here, which I expect they might.
Let the light guide you.
If they don't break, they'll burn.
Cool, that's a lot of damage.
Empire proud.
Probably dead here.
Pushing my limits.
I assume we're dead here. They have the little shen emote. Yeah, I think this deck that we're playing's actually a good example of. There's been a number of people that have complained about
Ready to shine even brighter.
the current format being a little bit linear and the aggressive decks. And I actually think this current deck that we're playing is a good example of kind of bad deck building that allows those aggro decks to really prey on it. Like, this deck felt kind of competitive in the more mid-rangey matchups, but if you just, like, look at what this deck is doing, you can't just look at the curve and say, okay, we've got 2s and 3s, so we're going to be okay against aggro. If you, like, look at what my cheap cards are actually doing in this deck, I don't have any cheap interaction, right? Like, I have single combat as kind of cheap interaction if my creatures are living, but for the most part, my cards are just kind of playing to the board. They don't have a way to interact with elusives. We can't kill their things before they could do things like deal damage to them, to their crimson units. Yeah, so like our tape end like has some interaction in things like harsh winds and like Lux leveling up, but the bottom end of our curve, even though we have a lot of cheap cards, we don't have cards that we don't have cards that like play to the board against things that demand answers. We don't have cheap, efficient answers to solve problems that people may be deploying against us. Jalark, thanks for the 4 months. I appreciate that. I appreciate the third of a year. At any rate, this deck was still fun. We got to Poros snack people on occasion. I think Lux honestly continues to be my favorite champion in this game. I don't think there's really a good way to fix the problem that this deck is doing without giving up Lux. Like, I feel like our two like build around conditions or constraints that this deck has placed on itself makes it really difficult for the deck to have a lot of play in the early aggressive matchups. I feel like if we gave up Lux, we could play some other cheap challenger things to help kill the opponent's stuff early, and then we wouldn't feel obligated to play a bunch of really expensive cards to trigger Lux. But like, if you want to keep the Poro theme and you want to keep the Lux theme, I don't think you can make both of those things functional without giving up and punting your aggressive matchup for the most part. Like, there aren't enough slots in the deck to be able to like have Lux work consistently, have your Poro synergies, and have interaction. I think I am actually going to wrap up for the day. So remember, my goal for streaming, the new schedule now, is doing about 4.5 to 5 hours a day. So I'll be back again tomorrow morning into the afternoon. We'll be doing some Runeterra to wrap up again. If you're new to my content and you're enjoying it, make sure to hit that follow button. And if you're not familiar with it, my website and my YouTube channel archive absolutely everything that I do here. So I post a video with a new Runeterra deck almost every single day on there. So if you haven't seen it before, there's a couple dozen videos up there at this point of Runeterra stuff. And hopefully see all y'all around again tomorrow. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Blur's day. What day of the week is it? It's Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, wherever you're at in the world, and stay safe out there. It's kind of crazy, especially in the United States.